Better World Blueprint. Good humans doing good things.
Here in Australia, we're in the middle of an election campaign. And I don't know about you, but I often wonder how many of the promises made will be kept. How genuine are these politicians trying so hard to get our vote? If you're feeling a bit jaded like me and you want a break from all the spin, you've come to the right place. All you'll find here are good people doing good things. I'm Siobhan Hunt. Welcome to A Better World Blueprint. When do you feel most grounded and connected? For me, it's after a yoga practice and a dip in the ocean. For Amee Donohoe, it's surfing. Amee is a former professional surfer, once ranked in the top 5 on the World Surf League's championship tour. When she realised that First Nations women were underrepresented in the surfing world, even while more women were hitting the surf, she decided to do something about it. In January 2025, she started Saltwater Surfing Sisters, a program designed to connect First Nations girls and young women to the ocean and culture through surfing. This is my chat with surfing coach Amee Donohoe. Hello, Amee, and welcome to A Better World Blueprint.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I know you've taught surfing in lots of different ways, but this particular project, the Surfing Sisters project, is something a little bit different. What made you decide to start doing this?
Well, so I guess for me, obviously being a female in a sport that's predominantly been quite a male-dominated industry, and in the past few years we've seen a real surgence of women in the water, uptaking the sport and just the lifestyle. And one of my, someone within the business pointed out to me that the Indigenous representation is still extremely low, if any at all. So we sort of brainwaved a few ideas and we said, hey, well, there's this sporting grant. How about we look at this sporting grant and then nominate to put that funding towards providing a platform for these girls to learn to surf, get surf coaching and have access to the water and surfing. So it all just sort of steamrolled from a few conversations. I'd noticed that there was a need and a demand, like there was definitely a bit of a gap there. So I think for me, I've always been pretty proactive with things that I'm passionate about in minority groups. So I was like, okay, well, tick, let's get this off the ground.
Those were some pretty practical steps in terms of going, okay, we need the funding to get this off the ground. Was there anything else that you needed to do in terms of after you applied for the funding? Like, how do you set something like that up? How do you make those connections so people know about your program?
Look, it's been a roller coaster. It's definitely been a journey. There's been a lot of learning on my behalf. To be honest, I didn't think we'd get the grant. Like, we kind of submitted the paperwork. It's a national platform. So, and then I got a phone call from the woman that applied on Surf Academy's behalf, and she said, "We've got the grant." And I just went, "Whoa!" So there was no systems put in place. There was no planning for this outcome to eventuate. So, kind of just then when we got the tick, we were like, "Okay, what does this look like? What are we going to do?" So that's when I guess we went back to the proposal and we kind of like said, all right, well, where do we start with this? And I think we just said, okay, well, we're based on the Central Coast. We then started to connect with Indigenous communities on the Central Coast and organisations as well. So there's a lot of organisations here on the Central Coast, but even that was like I spent days on the phone just calling all these organisations saying, hey, how do you feel about, we wanted to take girls surfing and from ages, 6 to 20, and it was just kind of like blank, like not much, yeah, cool, not my vision, So I was like, okay, keep calling. And then eventually, probably 2 months down the track, we started getting somewhere. We were like, all right, fine. Like, a few doors started to open. We started working with this organisation, GNL, up at Wyong, and one of the mothers actually has a young daughter that wanted to surf. And so that was our in. We were like, and she was like, oh, wow, this is amazing. I can't wait to offer this to our people, to our mob. And I was like, awesome, cool, right. And then I'm on the southern, so the Central Coast kind of spans like an hour distance between the southern and northern end, and so I'm based more predominantly down the southern end. So then, even in my kids' school, there was a few ladies that I knew, and we were like, it just kind of steamrolled. So once doors started open and we kind of started to understand how we could roll the program out, I feel like now it's incredible what's happening. Like we're well and truly rolling out a very successful program.
And it sounds like it's all down to, for want of a better word, networking, but probably the best word is connections, like really
Yes.
human conversations you had to have
Yep.
in order to do that. So you started getting the word out there, people started coming. Is it straightforward to do a surfing program? You need equipment, you need trainers.
I guess for us, like, we run surf programs all year round for beginners all the way like through to my tier of working with Olympians. So our individual business has got like a really good understanding of what it takes to get people in the water, get them progressing. But I think bringing in the individual Indigenous girls, there was a lot more to be mindful of, just with culture and our staff having cultural training, and kind of like you say, I guess it's even more about connecting. So like giving a program that's not just surfing but actually connecting people to land and to water. And hopefully at the end of our goal for the end of the 3 years is some of these young women that we've got, they learn the skills, but not only do they learn it, but they become potentially so experienced as a surfer, and they might go on to be a surf coach, and then they can take that back to their mob, and like future generations can have continual like connection to the water and the land. So that's kind of like something which is different, but it definitely has a lot more depth and a lot more meaning. So I feel like we're definitely starting that's happening, evolving as we speak.
Were there ever challenges to this whole process? Did you ever stumble, whether it was in practical ways of getting it off the ground or even in self-belief that you could make it happen?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's a big task. I can't sugarcoat. There was like so many, like when I was ringing all these organisations, and just the amount of time on the phone and the amount of knockbacks that we were getting, I was like, oh, this is really hard. Like normally, if you're trying to give away, for like my perspective, like I've got so many surfers that will ring me and try and get on my like books and want coaching, like they're like, oh wow, coaching with Amee, like, and here I am on the other end, like ringing all these organisations saying, hey, I really want to get this surfing program happening for young, like, and it's just like blank. And I was like, oh wow, okay. It's rejection, isn't it? Like you're kind of there going, all right, well, how many times do I keep, and I couldn't give up, because I was like, okay, well, why am I not getting their response? Why am I not getting, and then I'm pretty proactive person where I'm like, okay, well, what's stopping this from happening? Like, and then so what we did was we realised that transportation was a big missing piece. So a lot of the young girls may not have access to get to the beach. They might not. Of course, we don't expect them to have a wetsuit. We don't expect them to have a surfboard. Like, we provide all that through the business already. But a big part was financially. Parents might be working. Parents might be a long way in. They might not have the financial resources to even get to the beach. So then we were like, all right, okay. So we bought a 12-seater bus. And as soon as we bought this bus, bang, problem solved. It was like, okay, well, we can come to you, we can pick you up, and we can take you to the beach. And I feel like it might not have been that, there was not a no. It was just sometimes, it's a big thing for any person, I think, to be able to go, I don't have the financial means to get my kid to the beach. So I was like, okay, I can without making it awkward and saying, well, well, how about we just problem solved it? So then I feel like those young girls instead didn't even have to know about that issue. We just solved it, and then all of a sudden now they're able to take part in the part that I love, which is the water and the surfing part. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. It was a light bulb moment for sure.
Has doing this program changed you, do you think?
Yeah, I think for me, I was a part of, so with the AIS, they've got this program called the Women's Summit program, which identifies female coaches in sport. So I was a part of that program for 2 years, and I think in that program I met someone I'd call like a mentor, and she's Cheryl Tickett-Tuckett, and she coaches basketball in Western Australia, and she just kind of pointed out to me just how important it is to have connection. and connection to people, connection to tribe, connection to the water, the land, all those things. So I feel like this program's made me look at that just through a bit of a different lens and go, okay, well, it's not, to you and I, it might just be we grab our surfboard and we go for a surf, but I think there's a different level of depth that we need to keep nurturing and incorporate that into the program. So bringing in the right elders. So like we just recently ran like a cultural day, and it was a really good sharing environment where the elders came down and did these amazing, acknowledgement to country, and then like the smoke ceremony, and then sharing their tribal dances, and then crossing that over into the water was just, I feel like anyone that was on the beach was like, wow, that's really, there's a lot of meaning there. And one of our coaches said it really well. He said, you guys have such connection to land and community, but as surfers, we have that same connection to the water and the ocean. So when you've got two powerful kind of pieces that come in together and connect, I feel that's when the real magic kind of happens. So, yeah, that was pretty cool.
What impact have you seen of the work?
Oh, so much. Like, I think there's so much gratitude there from all the parents of these programs. Like, constantly I just get sent, thank you, thank you, thank you. Like, this program has just changed our life. That's just so beautiful, really, when you see just this appreciation and like for me to share what I love. And then, I mean, surfing's just so beneficial, I think, even just the water and the ocean, just for well-being and mindfulness and all those things. So then to bring that into some, potentially teenagers or young girls' lives, and then hopefully they carry that through forever and it becomes like their kind of like outlet where they can, just go and be. I think that's pretty special. Because it's a 3-year program, it's not just a one-off, like you're actually going to nurture that development for years. And I think people can feel that. You go, okay, well, there's a lot going on, and you're going to see the ebbs and the flows that come with that as well. Because surfing is a hard sport. I can't say it's like...
I was going to say you must have some girls that come with an element of fear because
Yes.
particularly if they don't live on the coast already,
That's right.
The ocean can be a scary place.
Well, we had one young girl at the cultural day. Her mum was so proud. She was like, she's the first saltwater sister surfer that our mob's seen. They're like, she's it. So we're bush, and she goes, we're from Moree, and this is just incredible. Like, and I was like, that's so cool. Like, hopefully that's just going to, she goes, this has just changed the whole direction of how we feel. And I was like, that's so cool. But I mean, first week again, there was girls that wouldn't even go in the water. We fast rewind back to the summer holidays, and it was like the first few sessions, it was flat, no waves. Tawoon Bay is a really nice beach, super calm, and girls they weren't even comfortable to go in the water. Come now, like 3-4 months later, and you're seeing them all just get out of the minibus and they're running to get their board, and they're, it can be like 3 foot, and they're like, or there's blue bottles, or there's windy and it's raining, like all these elements that sometimes you see kids or adults just go, oh, pass today. There's no pass. It's like, we're there.
God, yeah, blue bottles will keep me out every time.
Oh, no, it hasn't. That's what I mean. Like, it's rain, shine, hail, whatever it is, and blue bottles.
Oh, it sounds like an incredible program, Amee. Thanks for talking to me today.
Thank you. Pleasure's all mine. Thank you.
Surfing coach Amee Donohoe. There are people like Amee all over the world, restoring connection in what can feel like a very disconnected world. If you know someone like Amee, let me know. Send me an email. You'll find the address in the episode notes. I'm Siobhan Hunt. See you on the next episode of A Better World Blueprint.